And welcome again to the big match. Action once more from 3 outstanding First Division games for you to enjoy. And at Tottenham, we really had a whirl of activity on the very edge of the game. For one thing, a New England striker emerged, and the crowd certainly gave Sir Alf Ramsey a prompting over Martin Chivers. Sir Alf also had to find a new defensive replacement for Brian LeBeau when he was carried away with a bad leg injury. And as you all know by now, 4 other England players were also pulled out. So today we can salute Martin Chivers. We can also have sympathy for Brian LeBeau as we bring you our main match today from White Hart Lane. Spurs against Everton with Pat Jennings in tremendous form.
Royal going for this one and getting up well. Newton going in, ball. Oh, a magnificent save.
Also Huddersfield against Manchester United.
And where's that ball going on the line? Fitzpatrick saves it.
And Manchester City against Leeds.
This is Oaks going on, and what a beautiful pass from Lee. And a good cover there by Paul Madeley.
Well, a superb performance by Leeds, and at Huddersfield, the return of George Best. Our studio guest today, and welcome to him, Alan Ball of Everton. And Alan himself really was the centre of speculation at Tottenham yesterday. Will he lead out England in Malta on Wednesday? Or will it be Alan Mullery of Tottenham? Right, off we go. Spurs against Everton. Both sides really out of the running now for the Football League Championship, but both in the 5th round of the FA Cup. Most times they produce fine matches. This one is no exception on a pitch that played better than anyone could have expected after the rain. First, the Spurs team, and they're still without Mike England in that defence. That's becoming a little worrying for Spurs fans, but Peter Collins returns after injury to take his place at 5. Otherwise, it's Spurs' strongest lineup. And a newcomer in the Spurs side is their number 11, young Jimmy Neighbour, who made such an impact in that cup tie at Carlisle with the winning goal last week. As for Everton, such a familiar look about their side, surprising that their form in the league has been so patchy, but they're a side that seems to be swinging back into form, having won 3 of their last 4 games. Ball, Harvey, Kendall, a really magnificent midfield trio. But as we go into this game, some critics are saying that nobody is luckier than Brian LeBeau, still to be in favour for England. Little did we know then just how unlucky LeBeau was going to be a few minutes from now. The crowd, 42,000, referee Derek Nippard of Bournemouth himself, he had a good game.
And Spurs defending the goal to our right in the white shirts. Everton in blue. Get us away. A pitch that was covered in puddles 2 hours ago, so it was a bold decision by Derek Nippard to say, without question, yes, on it goes. But obviously the right decision as well. Derek Nippard, the referee from Bournemouth. Henry Newton now for Everton. And now Gilzine. That'll fall for Peters. Nicely on his body. I suppose, if anything, what the players would hope for would be that it would continue drizzling throughout the game so that the ball would move fairly easily across the surface. Now Mullery. And Tommy Wright, the victim of that rather fierce challenge by Mullery, and Everton's free kick. Good fierce challenge there by Knowles as well. Harvey to Husband. And Neighbour, the new hero at Tottenham, the man who scored the winner in that cup tie at Carlisle. Knowles in very briskly, but it's now Howard Kendall for Everton. Knowles again. Neighbour. Knowles. Wants to make the running down the left, Knowles. Here's Chivers. 26 goals this season for him. Neighbour once more. Oh, Chivers, a good pass and well taken by Chivers. And 3 Everton defenders converging on him in next to no time. That's what they think of Chivers, but now it's Knowles again to lift it once more. Peters with his head, and Chivers just passed. Good, swift, decisive break by Spurs, and a corner given quite clearly by the referee. So although the ball appeared to come off, finally Martin Chivers, it must have touched an Everton defender. And Peter Collins, pass fit only this morning, comes up for it. Neighbour, the short one to Peters. Neighbour again across, and LeBeau getting his head to that one, only as far as Knowles. Spurs making all this early running. Now a throw to Everton. Jimmy Neighbour. And the players themselves were saying before this game what a brilliant winner it was that he scored at Carlisle. Mallory. And Spurs throw. Mallory taking it quickly. Knowles and Neighbour, a misunderstanding and a throw to Everton again. Rather an ill-fated match, this one, because last season's was first of all postponed when there was a snowstorm here, and then when there was a floodlights failure when the rearranged match was played, and when there was a failure at a local power station. And he was outside the area quite clearly, and it's a free kick to Tottenham. Andy Rankin not liking the decision by Derek Nippard, but it was the right decision. And you could see quite clearly from our picture that he was beyond that penalty area. And it's a free kick to Spurs. Martin Peters and Knowles there with it, and they want Kendall 10 yards back, which he isn't at the moment, but there's Knowles floating it across. Collins not getting to it. Joe Royle. Philip Beale. Almost the first touch Beale's had of it, and Chivers was offside on the far side. Chivers, who very nearly got in with an early goal for Spurs, and I say 26 to his credit so far this season, a really tremendous season he's had. Collins in very quickly indeed, he'll have to be against Joe Royle. Kinnear. Good run there by Kinnear, but the shot didn't quite match it in the end, but LeBone having trouble to get it away, first off the body of Kendall, but now Perryman. Hard challenge there by Colin Harvey. LeBone having his version, telling Kendall, I think, to get out of his way. Gilzean, and LeBone after him. A nice flick there by Gilzean to Mallory, and a beautiful flick inside by Gilzean again. Now Alan Ball. Boldly across his goal to Tommy Wright, and now Andy Rankin, the man who's come in a few months ago for Gordon West. Knowles back to Jennings, and that's Pat Jennings' first touch of the ball. Mallory. Oh my goodness, there's a long one back by Mallory, and Jennings had to scurry back into his goal. He was taking his time a little bit. Really was a firm back pass by Alan Mallory. Chivers getting up well, but John Hurst beating him in the air. Ball now sending Royle away, and Husband lurking in the middle. Good break here by Royle. Turn back there, but Perryman getting it away to safety. Colin Harvey with the throw for Everton. Joe Royle. Not too much room out there for him, and Morrissey out there trying to help him, but down he goes by Kinnear. And a free kick given to Everton, for which John Hurst is coming forward, and Royle, you see, making his way also into that Spurs penalty area. A bit tight in that penalty area. There's Morrissey with the free kick, and Jennings immaculate there with his catching. Peters played first time to Neighbour, and my goodness, he controlled that well, but Ball saw the pass, and he's got Husband outside him. Harvey's made a burst into the middle, and if Husband can find him, it could be dangerous. And now Kendall going in hard as well, and Mallory doing very well to slide in there and get that one away for Spurs. Gilzean now, a lot of movement about this game. Knowles. And there's Chivers, beautifully placed for Neighbour. And Neighbour going on, and finally it comes to Chivers again. Neighbour's down, and the pass back by Ball. Neighbour really running through there at some pace. Newton. And Collins not allowing Royle to get to that ball. He decided he wanted it first. It's a good brisk start by Tottenham. Mallory now finding Jimmy Neighbour. Knowles. Gilzean coming away from the defence and finding Peters. Chivers. And Mullery was there looking for it, but it wouldn't go, and Harvey covered well. One of the England party for Malta, Colin Harvey. Steve Perriman to Knowles. Chivers again coming away from Hurst, finding Neighbour. And Neighbour in turn finding Beale. There's so much composure about young Jimmy Neighbour, and there's Beale putting one through. Gilzean will leap for it as well. Neighbour coming in again. Oh, a great shot! And a fine piece of play there. That really was superb football. Neighbour looks as though he's hurt his arm, but he caught that superbly. And all credit too for Andy Rankin, who really flew across that Everton goal. LeBone looks as though he's in trouble. There's Rankin, who made a superb save there. And Neighbour complaining that his shoulder is aching a little bit. And it looks as though LeBone is in big trouble. It looks almost as though they're calling for the stretcher. Yes, the stretcher coming on. Well, I wonder what Sir Alf Ramsey feels about this. Quite clearly it's a serious injury to LeBone with the stretcher on. There's Roger Kenyon, the substitute. And the saddest side of all in football, to see any footballer like this, particularly a great servant of any club like Brian LeBone, to go off with obviously what must be a serious injury to his leg. Well, that could well mean a reshuffle in the England side, I would think. Sir Alf Ramsey obviously contemplating that already. Here's the corner for Tottenham. Neighbour with it. Rankin gathering it well. Now Newton. Alan Ball. Perriman. Oh, Perriman losing out to Harvey, who was coming on so fast. Ball across there as Royal goes in, but again Pat Jennings. Well, indeed, there's the sad state of Brian LeBone being led the length of the field and then out presumably to a hospital. Tremendous stride Chivers has got, but that wasn't the best of centres. Quite easily cut out by Hurst. Kenyon, or rather Howard Kendall, coming hard for this one, just keeping it in, and Ball harassed by Perriman. Clearly one of Perriman's main duties is to subdue Ball in the middle of the field this afternoon, and that's a tough task for anybody, let alone a teenager like Steve Perriman. Husband. Well, I don't know how that kept in, but somehow it did. And he's back with Tommy Wright. Royal going for this one and getting up well. Newton going in. Ball. Oh, a magnificent save. What a great save by Jennings. Ball looks absolutely amazed by it, as well he might. Fabulous save by Jennings. Ball then. Surprised indeed that he's not amongst the scorers in this match so far, with that shot that was saved with the corner. Husband planting it back once more to Ball. Spurs should have got that away. And Jennings not having too much chance against the crossbar. My goodness, how did that stay out? Kendall, oh, kicked away this time by Collins. Harvey putting it in, and the whistle had gone. Well, Jennings led a charm life there. He missed the punch after making that truly tremendous save from Ball, and the ball landed against his crossbar without him able to do much about it, but there must have been an infringement right in that goal area. So 20 minutes gone, still no score, amazingly. Pat Jennings. Morrissey to Royal. Oh, and that nearly went through to Harvey as well. Beale cutting it out well. Gilzean. Oh, and Gilzean a pass back that very nearly found Husband. Elbows, or rather not so much elbows, but Kenyon pushing down on Chivers. as they went for that one. Spurs free kick from an interesting position, almost central, a little right of central, some 10 yards outside the area. Peters taking it quickly, Chivers going in! Oh, and a goal by Chivers! Superbly taken by the Spurs! Well done for Peters, and Chivers really on it very quickly. So much of the credit going to Martin Peters for taking that free kick so quickly, as he must have done so often in his West Ham days for Hurst. And this time, instead of Hurst, it was Chivers who was there to finish it off. 1-0 to Tottenham. Martin Chivers the scorer. Martin Peters, who certainly made it. Well, the Spurs fans are really happy about that one, and it was a fine goal. Joe Royle. Oh, Morrissey going in very quickly. Oh, against that stanchion, in fact. And it wasn't quite as close as it looked from this angle. Morrissey coming in very quickly indeed, though. Chivers for England goes up the cry, and Sir Alf Ramsey is on the other side of the field, and I wonder if he'll pay any attention to that. And Chivers off in chase again. Chivers against Kenyon, and Kenyon's foot just sticking out there to put the ball into touch. Perryman. Kinnear to Mullery. Gilzine. Kinnear again. Mullery once more. All played there straight though for Tommy Wright. Now Ball. Husband made a burst through the middle. And Royal is waiting there, but it's still Husband. Played there now for Colin Harvey. Oh, and another fine save by Jennings. That really is two world-class saves that Pat Jennings has pulled out, first from Ball and now from Colin Harvey. Ball with the corner. And Jennings again getting to that one as well. Now Mullery. Kenyon got a yard on Chivers and had every reason to expect that he would cut it out, which he did. John Hurst now for Everton. Joe Kinnear, or rather Joe Royle. And a free kick given against Spurs for Everton. Collins and Kinnear waiting. Hurst, you see the Everton number 10 is right up there, a big man who heads well. Ball with the free kick. And Jennings, oh, forced to push that one over. Swirling, curling, and men coming in fast on him. And he did the safe thing and unquestionably the right thing. There really are days when Pat Jennings looks as good as anything in the Football League, and today is one of them. There's Morrissey, and Collins getting up well. Morrissey again, and Hurst on the far side. But it was going wide, even though Jennings still got a hand to it. Goal kick. Now Knowles. And now Jimmy Neighbour. Peters gone bursting through the middle again. Knowles has suddenly, surprisingly fallen to the ground, but he's on his feet again to take this one. A collision with Tommy Wright. Knowles turning it again towards the near post. Gilzine straining to get to it. Peters again. And Henry Newton. Alan Ball. Oh, Morrissey coming in fast. And surely obstructed there, yes, by Joe Kinnear. So Everton's free kick, Henry Newton. And Royal not getting ahead to it. But now Howard Kendall going beyond that defence there, across the far side there. Joe Royal! 1-1. One that Jennings couldn't stop. And Kendall, who did so much in that, going behind the Spurs defence, and a nice little cross, finding that head of Joe Royal. So 1-1 we stand then, right on half-time. And even Pat Jennings couldn't stop that one. Right. And now Knowles. Knowles with a throw. And a sandwich. An Everton sandwich on Jimmy Neighbour. Oh, and quickly taken by Knowles to find Peters. Peters, in fact, was trying to curl that past the defence there. Mullery coming in fast. While those two Everton defenders were recovering, Spurs were away again. You really have to think quickly all the time. Mullery with the corner. Still not away. Now Newton to get it away. Kinnear playing it wide again to look for Mullery. Newton with the throw. Alan Ball. Kenyon to Joe Royal, letting it go under his feet. Well, the pitch has really played remarkably well. There's been so much criticism of the Tottenham ground in this season so far. There's a free kick to Spurs. But the pitch, in fact, has played remarkably well, and the first half has been a really entertaining one. A lot of good football being played and some superb goalkeeping at both ends. Philip Beale now. And now for Knowles. Peters. Knowles again. Trying to force his way through. And that was no chance there for Neighbour. Hurst back to Rankin, and my goodness, Knowles went in there very hard indeed on the goalkeeper, but he obviously saw the ball under the body, and there's a tremendous fight at the other end of the ground now. Rankin is down at one end, and the police are in fierce action at the other end. Well, Andy Rankin all right again, and we've now played 3 minutes of injury time at the end of this first half. There's the corner for Spurs. Chivers looking to get near it by the near post. And he must have been barging into an Everton defender as he tried to do it, because it's a free kick to Everton. And a repaired Rankin to take it. That's left Alan Ball very much in the clear, and Husband going fast. Cut out, though, by Philip Beale. Oh, what a lovely dummy by Beale on Royal. Chivers. And there goes the whistle for the end of the first half, and a very good first half indeed it's been, with Spurs having gone ahead through Martin Chivers, with a goal made superbly by Martin Peters, and then almost on half-time, Everton having equalised with a lovely header from their number 9, Joe Royal. Still to come on the big match this afternoon, so much more for you. Manchester City against Leeds United, Huddersfield against Manchester United, but the half-time score here at White Hart Lane is Spurs 1, Everton 1, and we look forward to much more entertainment in the second half in just a couple of minutes from now. So now it's Everton then to get us away at the start of the second half. And it's Henry Newton with the ball now. Oh, and Joe Royle in very quickly because Collins rather misjudged that one in the air. Royle, this time finding Harvey, in turn to John Morrissey. Royle's gone on, here he is. And one to the far side where Ball had made a great run. But in fact Knowles was equal to it, but Spurs still not out of trouble. It's through with Ball again, a little chip. Royle up there with his head, Harvey to bang it. And finally Kinnear. Kinnear again. Mullery and Newton and Hurst back to Rankin. Royle going on and Jennings quickly out. Probably Royle using a bit of elbow on Jennings. Beale, Perryman, Peters. Peters. Oh, nice play there by Mullery to Chivers. And now to Martin Peters again. Spurs starting off this second half at the moment in the way they started the first. But there's Howard Kendall. Two England teammates tussling for the ball there, Peters and Ball. And the throw given to Everton, and I must say it looked to me as though it was a Tottenham throw. So it's Harvey with the throw. Morrissey, back to Harvey. And now Hurst. Good pass there. Peters. Play well, Peters, this afternoon. He really has had a fine game, both in attack and helping out the defence. Chivers on his body. And good control there by Chivers. Kenyon snapping away at him, and he's got Newton ahead of him. And he's lost it. It's Tottenham's throw. From a position where Chivers might be tempted to throw a long one. But he's been told by his skipper to hold it. No, to try a long one instead. Aim for Gilzine. Newton will put that behind for a corner for the Spurs. Mullery there. Chivers right in there. Peters getting there with his hit. Gilzine! Alan Gilzine will finally turn it in. 5 minutes of the second half gone. From the corner by Mullery. Helped on by Peters and turned in finally by Alan Gilzine, who put Spurs into the lead again. So that's how we stand then with 5 minutes of the second half gone. Spurs having restored their lead through this man, Alan Gilzine, his 14th goal of the season. And it's the time now for the Spurs fans to be jumping a bit with joy. Newton and Collins. Perryman. Now Husband for Everton. But Everton, of course, a good, resilient side, even though they've been a little disappointing in the league this season. They lie 12th, remember. But they are, after all, the reigning champions. A side quite capable of coming back again and again and again. Neighbour, for the moment, looked to be getting the better of Hurst. Now Gilzine. And into that side netting. Spurs and Peters particularly claiming it went off the body of Rankin. But a goal kick given. Perryman, but straight to Hurst. And away goes Joe Royle again. Oh, he's beaten him this time. And across that goal, and Kinnear taking no chances at all. Good piece of work by Joe Royle. He'd gone over to the right and had slipped Collins, but in fact it was Knowles that he beat. And Kinnear doing exactly the right thing. Because Morrissey was just behind him, and here's Morrissey with the corner now. A back header, and Collins getting it away, not very far. Husband putting it in again. And now Royle blasting it, and Kendall blasting it too. And now Harvey to try and turn it. To turn it and to swerve it, but he says he couldn't do anything else, and in fact it was well off the target. Cyril Knowles to Martin Chivers, played nicely there for Peters to hammer it. Oh, just past the post, and a beautiful Tottenham move. A lovely little layoff by Chivers, and Peters on it like a flash. Quarter of an hour now to go. Hurst and Wright. And Peters back to Pat Jennings. Gilzine up. Mallory to try and fasten on it. And Harvey giving him nothing. Linesman flagging, and the referee saying yes, the free kick to Spurs for an unfair challenge by Harvey on Mallory. So Mallory to take the free kick himself. Gilzine waiting and wanting it. Chivers likewise. And Peters right in there as well. We're well into injury time now. Gilzine has got that one. Henry Newton taking too long. And the whistle in fact had gone. So Spurs have won by 2-1. Martin Chivers scoring their first goal, and Alan Gilzine their winner, and Joe Royle, of course, the Everton number 9, scoring Everton's goal in the first half. So there we are, victory then for Tottenham, and a really entertaining first half, not so good in the second half, with the final score at White Hart Lane, Spurs 2, Everton 1.
So a hard-fought victory then for the Spurs. Still to come on the big match, remember. Highlights of Huddersfield against Manchester United, the return of George Best. And, of course, the match that really counted at the top of the First Division yesterday, Manchester City against Leeds. Well, our shortened version of that second half, I don't think really quite could have done justice to Everton, who really came for Spurs hard in the second half. And Spurs themselves, in fact, didn't have a particularly distinguished second half. But now to take a closer look at that performance as a whole, welcome to our guest today, Alan Ball of Everton. With him, Jimmy Hill.
Well, Alan, first of all, a word about Brian LeBone. We understand he's watching the programme this afternoon in hospital. He's come through the operation very well. And what I'd like to do with you now is to look at that incident. I'm sure Brian will. That's an awful thing to have to do, to lie in hospital watching yourself get injured. But here it is coming up now. You were right on the spot there at the time. We show it first of all in normal speed, because I think it gives an impression. There's Jimmy Neighbour running forward. There's Brian LeBone coming, of the weight of that tackle. And now we see it in slow motion. There you are, Alan, number 8 on the right of the screen. How did you see it now? You were running back chasing Jimmy Neighbour.
Jimmy Neighbour pushed it past me, and in pushing it past me, just pushed it a little bit too far. And as you can see there, Brian could have kicked that ball away. If he just took a wild swing at it, he'd probably just have cleared it. But he always wants to tattle, Brian, you know. He's very, very fair play, and he always wants to tattle balls and win balls, you know. And rather than just kick it anywhere wildly, he wanted to win that ball in the tattle.
And come out the other side.
And come out, yeah.
Not give away a
throw.
But
the laddie was going at such pace that they both, you know, a terrific collision. That was very, very close. I didn't think Brian was injured at the time.
In fact, he played on for 2 minutes afterwards, didn't he?
I believe so, but I didn't sort of notice this. I just noticed him looking at his leg, and there was a red sort of smear on his stocking, and I said to the referee, I think our number 5's got a bad one, referee, and he just stopped the game.
Would you attach any blame to Jimmy Neighbour?
None whatsoever. No, I think they both went for the ball. I think it was just purely accidental. I'm sure Brian would say this as well. I would, being very, very close to it. I didn't think there was any harm in the tackle at all.
Oh, well, that's a wonderful clearing up operation, because there's always a tendency afterwards to blame people for something that you as a pro in the game accept.
Yes, no, I don't think there can be any blame at all. It's just unfortunate. Brian, as I say, always goes to win balls and play ever so fairly. And I don't think young Jimmy Neighbour did anything at all wrong.
What about the Tottenham side? Have they improved since last season?
They're playing very, very good football. They played ever so well at Everton. Actually, they should have beaten us at Everton, and I thought we should have got a point, if not 2 yesterday. But at Everton, they played ever so well. They came at us on our own ground. We usually get things a little bit our own way at Goodison. But they came and they played ever so well, and they knocked this ball about. And I think they deserve to beat us. We drew no goals, and I think they deserve to beat us.
What's brought about the improvement in their team?
Well, they work for one another, and they're not, like I said, they play football. They're prepared to play football from full back to outside left, and I like this in teams. You see the great teams; they're always prepared to play football, and they've all got the players in the team to play football.
Who's the most improved player, would you say?
Well, they've not really. Players haven't improved. I think they've just gained confidence in the way that they're playing.
Martin
you get these
Chivers,
spells.
a different player from what he was?
Obviously, goals. You're on top of the world when you're knocking goals in. Martin must be very, very happy at knocking goals, and you feel as if you can go out and you can just knock them in any time you want. I should imagine this is how Martin feels at the moment.
Yeah. Well, in fact, there were lots of lessons, I think, from those 3 splendid goals yesterday. They were brilliant football movements, but I think there were ways in which both managers and teams could learn that they might have been prevented. Here's the first one. See Howard Kendall there, just looking the wrong way, and the quick free kick gives Chivers the opportunity to glance that beautifully into the top corner. That was number 1, quick free kick, caught the defence unprepared. Now the second one, in fact they're all from dead ball movements. This I think is a lesson from Tottenham. Howard Kendall, having dozed off a bit for the first goal, waitens up here to make the second one. Here he is, watch the way he meets Knowles, but also watch the cross. Peter Collins is the wrong side of Joe Royal. He's in front of him in the middle of the picture, and he should be between him and the goal. And of course Joe Royal, with his heading power, is not going to miss from that distance. And then the last one, Gilly, what do you think about this? Another dead ball movement, the corner.
Yeah, Martin Peters, I think, headed it from round about the penalty spot. He got above John Hurst, so a terrific header down. He did ever so well, but I thought Gilzin was ever so lucky. It went through Henry Newton's legs there, and poor Andy was unsighted, he couldn't see it. But I think he was a bit fortunate getting that one in, I really do.
It was a bit unfortunate. I would say that was, having seen Alan Gilzin a fair amount, that was a typical bit of Gilzin.
Was it really? Well, I thought it was a little bit lucky myself. To go through bodies like that when it's so close, you've got to have a little bit of luck. The ball's got to run for you anyway around there.
Yeah. To be fair, I think Everton were very unlucky not to get a point yesterday, particularly because of their second half revival.
Yeah, well, you get a little bit upset about, we're thinking about it. Colin and Joe and I were down here on our own, obviously, to go away, and we were talking about it last night, and we were a little bit upset. And then you start to think how we've been playing early on in the season, and now we're just starting to play well, and we're coming back to what we can play like. Been frustrating for a lot of us, and. We think about it and say, well, it's not too bad really to have played so well down here and got beat. If there's any consolation.
It's a marvellous game of football. Is that a good sign for Everton for Europe, the European Cup? Because it's a wonderful thing if you could win that.
Yeah, we'd love to win that. Up there, they're absolutely fanatics, and to win that, for us, there's a lot of Scousers in the team, and they go absolutely crazy. I'd be frightened to death if we did win it. I've got a lot gone.
Alan Ball himself, you had a period this year where you were off form. Your father, manager of Preston North End, also doing very well, was on the ball yesterday and gave a splendid interview for us. He brought that period of bad form to an end, didn't he?
Well, he's always trying. He's
Tell us what he did.
Well, I was struggling and things wasn't going right, and I was a little bit down the dumps. I was working hard, training, and I was sort of the harder I went, the worse it got, and I went to sort of look to people for help for the first time in my life. Apart from my father, I started to listen to people, and they said I was tired, I was this, and so I said to my dad, I said, being a little bit wrong, I said, come and watch me, Dad, I said, and just see if you can see what's the matter with me. So he said, I will do. He said, but he didn't tell me when. Anyway, he came through one game and he got somebody to take my car back home, and he took me home, and he never spoke to me all the way home in the car. Never said a word, hardly. I knew that I hadn't played well, you know, nothing like what I can play like. And he just said, all right, he said, I'll see you later. He said, I'll have a chat to you about it later on. And my wife and I had been out. We come back about 2:30 in the morning, and you know, and he was in the house, and we just opened the door. Leslie went to make me a cup of coffee, and I opened the door to the front room, and there he was. I just saw this head in the chair, you know, and he turned around and he'd had a few drinks himself. Oh, and he gave me a terrible. He didn't have to give me some steak. And from then, you know, I thought, well, you know, people really want me to, you know, my family really want me to do well, and I've bucked up from there, and I'm playing a little bit better now.
Well, that's marvellous and so important, because now you stand with the chance of getting the England captaincy for the match against Malta on Wednesday, coming back from that, and all credit to your dad. What do you think about this captaincy business?
To captain England as a boy, I come from a cotton town in Lancashire, and to captain England I would be the proudest man in the world.
Yeah.
But you just can't say you're going to captain England. You know, if and when Alf says to me, "You're going to captain England," I shall just go, and I'm a player, not a captain of England.
In fact, some people are saying it might be Gordon Banks. In many ways, I think he's ideally suited for the job, but I personally just don't believe that a goalkeeper can be an effective captain of a team in the middle of it. I would go for Alan Mallory myself, because I think that's the decision that we make. What do you think of Mallory as a skipper?
Alan is, you know, he's a driver. He drives them on. He's great to play alongside. He's a winner. He wins balls for you, and then he knocks it off and, you know, says, "Go on you go, you play now." You know, he's a terrific driver, and he inspires you. I think he's a good skipper. I think he's a terrific skipper, Alan.
Alan Ball, thank you very much indeed. Whoever skippers England, may we say to you on Wednesday, come back with a win.
Thank you very much.
Yes, I'm sure all England fans would endorse that, in just the same way that Irish fans want them to come back with a win from Cyprus, and Scottish fans want a win from Belgium. Quite a week of international football coming up. Now let's have some more action for you, and this time it comes from Huddersfield, the return of George Best to Manchester United. Manchester United, the visitors at Leeds Road, Huddersfield. The pictures come from Yorkshire Television. The commentator is Keith Macklin, and let's have a look at Huddersfield in the striped shirts.
McGill. Worthington, Creran flicking it to Charlton. Fine play by Charlton, but Chapman comes across to take it off his toe to McGill. McGill losing to Best. Away goes George Best on one of those sinuous runs of his. Morgan. The three men in the middle. There's a low cross. Oh, it's there! Dennis Law on his return to Leeds Road puts Manchester United into the lead from that low cross from Willie Morgan. After 90 minutes play, and Dennis Law has done it against his old club. Cherry. Nicholson. United temporarily down to 10 men. In goes Cherry. And where's that ball going? On the line. Fitzpatrick saves it. Stepney with the punch, and Fitzpatrick kicked that one off the line. Greenhouse, Aston coming back to help Paul Edwards, and it looks as though a free kick's been awarded to Huddersfield Town. But with a kick, Stepney wanting well to come out, and not the glancing header. Greenhouse will try to back header. And appealing for handball. An appeal for handball in the area. A strong appeal for handball. And it looks like a penalty. A powerful appeal for handball. The linesman conceded it. The linesman with the yellow flag, Mr. T.R. Smith of Newton Hall. And it's a penalty at Huddersfield Town. Worthington to take the kick. 1-1. Frank Worthington gets his 8th goal of the season. Best, Dowling. Aston very fast to pick up that one. Again the low ball. Again Aston. But tackled by McGill. Wins it. And it looks as though McGill may have been penalised with yet another free kick in a dangerous zone. Yes, a free kick to Manchester United. We're right on the stroke of half-time. In fact, we're into injury time. Charlton to put this one over. A low one for Morgan. A shot, a handball, surely. Aston a goal. Aston the goal scorer. It may well have been.
So there we are, victory then for Manchester United. Matt Busby's magic seems to be working again. The last game today, in fact, it's Manchester City, who started the day in third place in the Football League against Leeds United, who are the undoubted leaders. In fact, there couldn't be a match of more significance or more importance in the First Division yesterday. We pick it up now with our commentator Gerald Sinstadt, with the pictures coming from Granada Television.
Jeffries, dispossessed by Hunter. Clark to Giles. Giles always drifting around, available, giving himself space to operate. Giles again, chooses not to give it to Bates. Jones tries to go through. Looks over his shoulder. It was Cooper, in fact, up there in the middle. Pushing it on for Bell. Lee going to help him, carried us through the middle. Lee, Oakes is square on the left. Some good terrier work there by Bates. Madeley to Hunter. Hunter still going, looking for some support, and he finds it over here on the right from Giles. 10 minutes we've been playing, no score between Manchester City and Leeds. Oakes. Francis Lee is 9, and this is Oakes going on, and what a beautiful pass from Lee. And a good cover there by Paul Madeley, as Oakes lined that up with his left foot. Back to Gary Sprake. Greeny. Bates to Jones. And Jones uncompromisingly tackled by Heslop. Giles to Madeley. Madeley so dangerous as he comes through. Clark. This is dangerous. Cooper. Good save by Corrigan on the edge of the 6-yard box, but Clark scores! Bell taking the throw in. Free kick quickly taken. Lee now with a chance. Howley is talking to Hunter and to Bell, and certainly Sprague didn't seem to move for that shot. I think maybe the whistle had gone. Bell very angry about it, wanting the quick free kick to be allowed, and certainly teams are allowed to take quick free kicks, but if Mr. Howley has blown his whistle because he wants to have a word with a player, then that's it. Cooper. He said toppling off balance by that tackle from Brook. A free kick to Leeds. Well, the players took up position as though for a free kick, but in fact it was a throw. Heslop trying to play the ball onto Jones' legs, but not succeeding, so it's a corner. Jack Charlton comes striding into the penalty area. 9 is Jones. Charlton on the line there by the near post. book just in front of him. Charlton coming under it, and Corrigan fists but doesn't get it away. Jones and Charlton! As the corner came over, Corrigan fisted it away, didn't get to it. Jones' shot was charged down, and Jack Charlton plonked it back into the net for his 8th goal of the season.
Well, Leeds then looking at their very best. Incidentally, the reason that Manchester City goal was disallowed from that quick free kick was, we think at any rate, because the kick wasn't taken exactly where the offence took place. It was some 4 or 5 yards from it, in fact. Well, that's all from the big match today. Next week, the big match for London viewers, at any rate, starts a little earlier at 2:25. That's for viewers in the London weekend area. Next Sunday, the big match, 2:25. Hope you'll join me for On the Ball next Saturday lunchtime. Let's leave you today, though, with the goal that quite clearly won for Martin Chivers a place in the England squad.
Position, almost central, a little right of central, some 10 yards outside the area. Peters taking it quickly, Chivers going in! Oh, and a goal by Chivers! Superbly taken by the Spurs!